What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another Lunch with a Realtor. I'm Anthony Armstrong, Realtor here with Next Home Premier Choice in Frisco, Texas, serving McKinney, Texas. All this, yeah, I'm all over DFW, folks. I'm here. I'm here to serve you, here to help you out. And leading into this weekend, we have today is Thursday, the 15th. So all of the chocolates from Valentine's Day are on sale. So go grab you some of that. But Number two is that the weekend is coming up. The weather is getting warmer, and that means open houses are going to be in play for a lot of buyers that are going to kind of be starting their search. So maybe if they're, maybe you're 6 months away or so, or maybe even I don't want to say a year out, but if you feel like you're about a couple months out, open houses may be in play for you. So in this episode of Lunch with a Realtor, I want to share with you a couple of tips, a few tips, about three or so, that I would highly suggest you take into account whenever you're navigating the open houses and you're out there trying to see what it's like to buy yourself a home. So without further ado, let's get it started. The first one, please address the agent holding the open house. All right, you don't walk up in somebody's house and don't speak. You walk in there, say, "Hey, how you doing?" Address them, and that's gonna be good for everybody, right? I mean, on one end, as an agent, you got to talk about safety, the safety aspect of it. I mean, you got people walking in and out of the house. You want to have an idea who's in there. You don't have to necessarily give all, the whole rundown, everybody your story, but you want to address the agent, say that you're there, and have a look around after that. Tip number two, as you talking about working with that agent, make sure you share if you're represented by another realtor. Okay, you don't have to be short with them. You don't got to be rude. Just say, "Hey, how you doing? What's your name?" You'll probably exchange pleasantries. Say, "Hey, I'm Anthony. I'm a realtor holding the open house. How are you? What's your name?" I'm going to ask you that. You'll say, "My name is whatever." And then at that point, I'm probably going to ask you, are you working with another realtor? If you are, great. I respect that relationship. I can answer any questions that you may have. Then otherwise, on the sign-in sheet, want to make sure that you actually, you don't have to give all your information, but generally one of those boxes is going to say, "I'm represented with a realtor." Right. So as a realtor, we want to respect that relationship. If somebody is, working with another agent, so please share that. That's good for us to know. And then, frankly, a lot of times realtors will send you out. They'll say, "Hey, here's a list of some open houses I think you may like. Go ahead and go take a look." I mean, maybe they can't make it, or maybe they'll meet you there. Or it's just a stop on y'all showing tour. But share if you're working with a realtor. Okay, share if you're working with a realtor. My third tip: ask questions. Ask questions. I mean, and I'll say this: the realtor that's holding the open house, understand that they are working for. They represent the seller more so than they're not going to be representing you. They're representing the seller. All right, so there's only so much information that they can share. But if you have a question about finishings, or if you have a question about, why are they moving? Like, people always love to ask that question. But ask questions if you have a legit, question about this, or do you have any offers? A certain type of tile, or is something going to stay with the home? Does a fridge convey? You can ask those questions, because this is going to be the most in-depth opportunity that you're going to have whenever you get to work and look at a house. It's the most in-depth look that you're going to get. Whereas a lot of times, if you go to a well-prepared open house, they're going to have a seller's disclosure that's going to be available. That way you can see what's going on with the house, what's been worked on, what's the current condition to the seller's knowledge. But you kind of have to take it for a grain of salt, because you always want to make sure you get your home inspection. But you can look and see what's on the seller's disclosure. Has the roof been replaced? When was the roof replaced? Is it the original air conditioner? Different things like that. You can ask those questions and look on the paperwork and get legit feedback on it and see what it is. So you're going to get to understand and look at what's going on the inside of this home, and ask those questions from somebody who's working with the seller, who have Not maybe not they won't know it to like the seller will, but they're going to be able to have access to it, and they'll have more knowledge of it than you will as you have visited that open house. Now, I want to say this briefly. If you're in the market and you're trying to look for something, you're looking to buy a house, go visit my website, agentarmstrong.realtor. And there's a home buyer workshop on there. There's a negotiation workshop video. It breaks down, the process of the home buying process, and you can learn the different steps to go from being not a homeowner to closing on your home. So it's something that can happen really quickly, but go ahead, check out the website, agentarmstrong.realtor, and you'll be able to get your stuff set up right there. And I have one little tip, one other little point about open houses. I mean, we're going to be real about them. Take my glasses off for you. Open houses are something that are great to start your process whenever you're, wanting to buy a home. It's something that you're able to get out there. You see homes, see the areas that you like. I think that it's very key to pay attention to the neighborhood, drive around, see what it looks like, because this is an area that you may be considering living. But there's a few points to understand. That number one, buyers, they rarely buy the home that they visit on open houses. That's something to know, on the selling side, but then it's also something to know on the buying side. On the selling side, we want to see the activity, and you may get somebody that does buy that house from there, but a lot of times you have people that are just starting their search, or they're just they're nosy neighbors, right? They're just peeking in, wanting to see what's going on inside the house. But if the market is still rolling, like, you could still expect to see a lot of people rolling in there. And the reason I say they'll rarely buy that home is a lot of times, sometimes I've seen people get discouraged if there's a lot of people that are in there. Wait, what's the traffic been like? Oh, wow, there's been 20 people coming through. Oh, well, it's going to be a multiple offer situation, so that's something that has deterred buyers. I've had that happen at open houses of mine. Then I've had open houses where there's been pretty consistent traffic, but then they haven't necessarily resulted in an offer. I've had some that have resulted in some decent conversation, but generally, it hasn't ended in one, but you still end up closing the deal, but it's not always from somebody that's coming from the open house. So understand that as a buyer too, that you may not buy this one house. And a lot of it may have to do with the fact that there are plenty of people there, right? So now you see everybody's clamoring for this. Maybe you don't want to get into that type of a situation, and don't feel pressured to, use it as an informational session, use it as something that you can get out and actually, just start that process, get a feeling for how it is, and just see what's going on in the market. So I think open houses can be great, especially just for informational purposes, so you can kind of learn a little bit. But make sure you follow those 3 tips for me, though. So speaking as a realtor, just follow these 3 tips. Address the realtor that is holding the open house. Let them know you're there. Number 2, matter of fact, let them know you left. All right, I'm out. Thanks for having us. Be cordial about it. Share if you're represented by another realtor. All right. We want to respect that relationship, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay. You've got the prime opportunity to ask somebody who should know, or is at least 1 degree of separation from finding out a question that you may have. So go ahead and ask those questions, and feel free to go hit up some open houses. And once again, check out the website, agentarmstrong.realtor. Check out the buyer negotiation workshop, the 5 steps for you being able to get into a home, just a process that you're going to take. It's all there for you. And then we can schedule a consultation. So hope all is well. Y'all be good.